Last year, I ran a 30-day digital decluttering challenge. And it was maybe not what you might expect because we didn't organize much, we didn't label stuff. There were no like, use this template for the perfect thing. It was slightly different and it led to like way bigger transformations. And I wanted to share the biggest lessons and takeaways from that. So, imagine the space and time. It was the end of the year. And there's always this vibe of like, oh, there's the new year coming. There's this energy. But at the same time, most people are like tired from the holidays and they're like, I still need a second vacation if they get a vacation. And it's like, oh, I don't know. So I wanted to offer something cozy and not so rushed, but something that could like, build up the energy into the new year. And so I was thinking, well, what could I offer people? And then I was thinking about this thing that I have, which is I don't really do notifications. I'm not really bothered by the urgency of messages or events or like pings and whatever. And I kind of live in like this organized chaos. And people often ask me like, how do you do it? Or how do you organize this thing? And I'm like, well, I don't, but this is what I do. So I came up with the 30-day challenge to kind of show people what I do and to like discuss with people how they are organizing or coping with their digital space and how they're handling all the noise that is always there. And yes, it was called 30 Days of Digital Decluttering. That's 30 DDD. And what we basically did, we decluttered our digital space. So focusing really on all the noise that's coming at us and our phones, our computers, but also we tackled cables, for example, which is kind of like, the stuff that is needed to be connected to the digital world. And as we were going through the days, some like things started to emerge from it because also I didn't actually like prepare it beforehand. I was like, I'll just see where this goes with people together, like what are the needs of people. And I started to notice some things, and that's what I wanted to like share today. Like what were the lessons or what were the takeaways from these 30 days that now you can get in a lot less time than 30 days. Number one, keeping things simple. So already from the beginning, my idea was that I wanted to come up with like things each day that could be done in just a few minutes. So there would be no time for like, you do this with a fancy template or organize all of your files on your computer, because I didn't want to give people like these useless setups that would take a lot of time that they wouldn't use afterwards. I wanted them to question how can they make tech work for themselves in a very simple way, like literally the simplest way that you can think about for each little topic that we tackled, so that we wouldn't like become like employees for tech, but that tech would do the work for us. Number two, and this is because I got a lot of questions about it, and over time I realized I have a very strong opinion about this, and you can or cannot agree with it, it's totally fine, is the question of what do you do when your storage is full? And if you like look it up online, there are like all of these like elaborate methods for like cleaning up your storage space. But my answer to the issue is get more storage. Because again, what is the simplest thing that you can do if you run out of storage? You just get more. It's not like your house where you're like, well, I filled this house with stuff, so I guess I'll move to a bigger one. It is digital space, so it will not take up so much more space. But then at the same time, I was also getting some feedback or questions about, okay, but what about like the environmental impact, or this data is still stored somewhere? And to that, my response, and again, I love that this was like an interactive challenge with people, is that technology is evolving. And these days, literally, you can buy like, I don't know, 10 terabytes. That is like a lot of data, like space, storage space that you can like store for not that much. And again, it's like yay big of a device where you can put like a billion videos on. So I'm like, what are we talking about? However, just to like also offer some things for people who still felt like, well, but I don't want to just, like keep building this digital footprint. My biggest advice that came from the whole thing was don't try to go by like size, because I think that's the first thing that people do. What is like the biggest thing on my computer? What is the biggest file on my phone? and then you delete it, and then you like win a little bit of time. It like jumps back a little bit, so you're like, yes, I'm good for like another week. Instead, if I want to like reduce my digital footprint, what I focus on is sorting things by lost used. So whatever is collecting spider webs and dust, I think that is the thing that should go, not necessarily the biggest thing, because I don't know, let's say you recorded your whole wedding. I think you want to keep that file. There's just no thing around it. But yet every single time your storage is full and you sort by size, the top thing will be, here's your wedding recording. But if you look at like lost used, you might sometimes look back on this video, like, you know, have these like wholesome memories. And yeah, I just feel like if you're going to delete stuff, delete the stuff that you actually like totally completely forgot about that even existed, because that is the stuff that you don't use. And yes, it might not save as much space, but I don't think that our memories and our data, kind of the value of it is dependent on how small it can be possibly put into. It kind of just has more like this emotional value, and sometimes emotional value also means that it is really big, and that is okay. So again, that is why like my generic advice is to just get more storage. If you want to have more memories, get more storage. Number 3, my standard reply to how do I organize ... or I have a lot of something, how do I organize this now? Archive. Whatever, wherever you are, you're going to create a new folder or whatever, like label, whatever you can do in that software where you're in, a new page, and you're going to call it archive. And everything where you're like, I don't know what to do with it, is going to go into the archive, and look, your space is now organized. That's it. Literally one folder, archive. So whenever you're thinking this is getting really overwhelming, put it into one folder and call it archive, because that's what it is. It is an archive. I don't do systems, I don't do templates, I don't do complicated organization or whatever methods. I literally just have one folder that is called archive. And whenever, whatever space, be it my browser tabs or like bookmarks or pictures or videos are starting to like get out of hand, I already have the archive folder, or I just make one right on the spot and I just put everything in it. And it's all good. It's like, cool, I have done all of these things, now let's archive them. I'm not going to go in there to like check which one is more important or which one I should be like, maybe I don't need anymore, blah blah blah. I will do that when my computer says storage full and I look at them lost used, because whatever I haven't looked at, like, you know, if the archives are like collecting again dust, I will clean it up then. But until then, why would I be spending so much time just organizing the stuff? Then again, how many times are you realistically using anything digital these days? So again, that's what I do. When the question is how do I organize, my answer is archive. Done. Number 4, and this is where I hope we will settle some maybe upset people, is I also believe in leaving things better than you found it. So whatever you use more frequently should kind of improve in quality over time. So if you are living in your, I don't know, specific folder, specific browser, if it starts to explode and you just keep putting stuff into the archive, but you have to go into the archive to actually find stuff, at one point you will be like, okay, this is getting overwhelming again because I just cannot find my stuff and I cannot work with this. And for me, those are the moments when I go, okay, how can I make this supportive for me? And how can I, when I open something here, leave it better behind than I found it? And yeah, this applies to like anything. So when you open a document and you're like, oh, this is very overwhelming, all the information here, can you make a short summary? Or when you open your mailbox and you have to look back on something, can you email yourself, like, this is a very important thing that I keep coming back to. When I look for it, I don't know, type in search pineapple and I will always find this email again. And very important note, better does not mean more nicely organized. Better means easier findable, and better means more supportive. Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean more organized. It just means that it works better and in a more supportive way for you specifically. Then number 5, experiment. I think anyone who is like shouting, this is the best system for whatever, how? If there would be a best system for everyone forever, everyone would be using the system and nobody would be questioning their digital space. But as far as I can see online, many people are questioning, like, how can I handle all of this information overload? So that one system will not work for everyone. And that was also like kind of my intention originally with the challenge, is to like have people experiment and figure out what works for them and to allow change. So a very good example of that is, for example, our calendars. Maybe you start out, like, I will time block my calendar. It's like super fun for like 3 weeks or something. And then you go, well, but actually now I have a lot of like meetings coming in and my time blocks are like getting all messed up. And well, apparently I just failed this system, right? No. I think our life can just change, and so can our systems. So if you ever like set up this very elaborate whatever template thing, for like, I don't know, your to-do list, which is also related to our calendar, and it worked for a few weeks because we're very like into it and like, I'm gonna stick to this now, and then you didn't. I just think it was an experiment that maybe worked for a while, and I think it's very valuable to question like which parts were actually really supportive and which parts were kind of like, that idea of like me working for tech, kind of like, look at me being productive but not actually getting anything done. And then, yeah, just allow yourself to change your mind as your life changes, and to experiment so that, again, tech is working for you, not you working for tech. That it actually is supportive and adds something to the quality of your life. And the very last thing, and that is why I loved doing this challenge with many people, is allow yourself to be human. Because what we also notice is that like one person would be like, oh, I have no problem like organizing my pictures. My pictures are always nicely like put in folders, because that's what they did when they were like, I don't know, 10 years old. When they first started to take digital pictures, and it was always nicely organized. While for most of us, for example, with pictures, we didn't get into that habit when we were 10. We came with like this huge folder of pictures already, and it was like, well, what am I gonna do now? And maybe over the years you tried something out, but it just didn't work, and it's okay. And again, it's just so okay to be human. We are not a computer, and we're not supposed to be working for a computer. The computer is supposed to be working for us. If this kind of vibe with you and you're thinking, oh, that sounds really good to me, and if you want to be a part of this low effort, more life-centered approach to the digital space, you can join us in our community, and you can find the link below. Hope to see you there.